In this video, I talk about retiring in the United States of America and how you might be able to afford it, and maybe not. Check it out. This is Jesús, Manuel, Mena, Garza. Hope you're having a really good day. In this video, I talk about retiring in the United States of America. My first video was talking about choices, retiring in Mexico or retiring in the United States. In my second video, I talked about predominantly about retiring in Mexico. In this video, I talk about how I pre-visualize retiring in the United States. The reason I produce these videos is to help you out. It is also to help me out to verbalize my ideas. So in the way it helps you out is you can say, yes, I understand what you're talking about, Jesús. This is something I should consider. Or you might say, nah, that's not going to work. That is not going to work for me. And you can say, I'm not like that. I'm not interested in that. As an individual, and my experiences are very different from a lot of you. Okay, so this is what I visualize how I am going to live out my retirement if I do decide to retire in the United States. Take from it what you want, discard what you don't. Again, don't forget, this is my opinion, and it's not written in stone. Okay, every decision I make right now is going to be informed by the next 5 years before I retire. In 5 years, I plan to retire if everything works out. I may not live that long. You never know. But everybody in my family tends to live into their mid-90s at least, okay? So there's a good chance I have still a good 20, 30 years left of my life. So how do I visualize living in the United States of America retired? Okay. It all has to do with your income, okay? Some of us only have our Social Security check. If you have a Social Security check, which is only $900, you have only have certain options. If you have a Social Security check of $2,000, you're doing a little bit better. Maybe you have a pension. Maybe you have a 401k. You have a lot of savings. Maybe you come from a family with wealth in that you have houses there and houses there, and you have family who will take you in. Some of us have those options. Some of us don't. My parents were humble farm workers. My father worked in the fields. He worked picking crops. He didn't make very much money. My mother, during the harvest season, would work in the canneries. Back in the day, back in the 40s and 50s and early 60s in San Jose, there were canneries in Silicon Valley. There were fruit orchards in Silicon Valley. It is all now has become very expensive. They are no longer there. They've steamrolled all those orchards and built, Apple, Google, Facebook, and all those other companies. They're all there now, okay? They've taken the place of where my parents used to work, now it used to be very inexpensive to live in San Jose. My parents bought their house in the north side of San Jose for $6,000. That same house is worth $1.1 million today, and my brother happily lives in that house. So my wife and I are very lucky. During the earlier parts of our lives, we did a lot of volunteer work. My wife volunteered for women's groups and volunteered quite a bit, doing in legal societies and stuff like that, legal organizations as an educator and stuff like that. And I did, work for Catholic Youth Organization, list goes on, other organizations, tutoring children, working with at-risk youth, volunteering, collecting food for the poor and indigent. So I did a lot of that for a lot of my life. So my wife and I tend to be selfless. We don't think about ourselves. We think about somebody else. That's how we were raised. Think about somebody else. it was very difficult for my wife and I to start saying, we got to start thinking about ourselves. Some people are very good about thinking about themselves. It's about me, period, screw you. It's all about how I can make a buck. I don't care about you. It was very difficult for my wife to say, hey, let's try to make a buck and put it in the bank and try to think about the future. We still do a lot of community work. I've donated thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars to the libraries and nonprofit organizations in our various communities that we've lived in. I've donated my time and service. But at this time, for the last 10, 20 years, along with doing that, we've also saved some money. Finally. My older brothers and sisters have been, thinking about, saving money since they were 16. I only started when we were in our 50s, okay, my wife and I. So we've been putting the money in the bank, putting money in 401ks, and, doing pretty good at that. And also we've had our jobs. I've, worked for a while for utility, and I got a small pension from them. I also got a very nice Social Security check coming in. So I have my pension, my Social Security check, and my savings, and my 401k. I don't touch my 401k, just sitting there, just growing and growing and growing. And my saving, my wife takes care of that, and it's doing okay. My wife, of course, is fully employed at this time. She's making a good salary as a professor and as the director of the art history department at the university. So she gets a good salary. I always encourage her, get that next bump up from director to dean, because that doubles your salary. Try that. But she doesn't want to do that. Yes. I've taken avarice to the next step. I say, let's make some money. So she has savings and, retirement, 401k, Roth IRAs, and blah, blah, blah. TIE, CREF, and all that, whatever that stuff is. I don't know what that is. So she's the person in charge of all our finances, and she's doing a very good job. She does a better job than I would. She's got a good head on her shoulders. And we don't spend too much money. We don't eat at expensive restaurants most of the time. And we're basically cheapskates, So we're doing okay. So number one, we have money. And in 5 years, hopefully it'll be more money. And by the time we're ready to retire, we should be able to buy cash a small house. The house we live in now, we'll sell it, put that money into our next house, and plus some savings, get a nice house. That's at least the plan at this point, okay? So my wife and I would like to live either in Mexico or the United States. So let's just focus on the United States. So if we lived in the United States of America, we cannot live next to my sister Dolores or my sister Carmen, who have houses with nice views of Silicon Valley with little ranchettes, okay? With turkeys, mountain lions, and peacocks, and bobcats, and all kinds of animals on their property. We can't afford that. We can't afford $1 million, $2 million, $3 million house. We can't afford that. So, and we also don't have family that can take us in. I have a daughter that will take us in, but I'm going to be very straightforward with you. I am not a conservative. I am left-leaning. I voted for Bernie Sanders. I am a Bernie Sanders Democrat, okay? My son-in-law, my daughter that wants to take us in, is very conservative. He's a sheriff's deputy in Santa Clara County. His politics are over here, and I'm over here, and we butt heads. So that wouldn't be a very pleasant living arrangement. So my wife and I say, hey, and my wife and I think about the same. We can buy a small house, live somewhere far away from them, maybe. Not too far away, but we can see the grandkids and eventually the great-grandkids. So we need a small house, small house, 1,000, 1,500 square feet. And the number one criterion that I have for the small house, that doesn't require me to mow the lawn all the time. Yesterday, I spent 4 hours mowing our lawns. We have a mowing lawn there, we have a 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 lawn there. We have lawns everywhere. I'm always mowing the lawns and trimming the trees. I just had a branch that broke in the back on my big elm tree. I have to get the chainsaw and cut that down. I have a big pile of brush I have to move and take places. I have to paint the trim again. It's always flaking off. So there's a lot of work. A lot of work. And the infrastructure of a house is a lot of work. So I'm hoping to minimize the infrastructure of my house so I can enjoy life more and do less work. So I joke with my wife. I say, let's move south of Tucson and buy a house in the desert. So somewhere between Tucson and Nogales. And I don't have to worry about the grass. It's all going to be desert. It's going to be cactus and shrubs. We don't have to worry about it. Just let it die. But she doesn't like that. She'd rather live where she can, she likes green stuff. She likes pine trees. So Northern California looks like it might be a possibility. Maybe Flagstaff, that area. Who knows? Maybe northern New Mexico, Chama. Who knows? So that's part one. Money, deciding a place to live that's small, that's manageable. I want it more manageable. My wife thinks things are done around the house miraculously. It does not happen miraculously. I fix them. I maintain them. While she's gone, I take care of them. When she comes back, they're fixed. So, if my wife was single, she'd be hiring people to do all this work. Just, like some people do. They just, here's 1,000, here's another 1,000, here's another 10,000. Fix it. That's how she thinks. She won't do it. She doesn't know how to do it. She's good at certain things. She's an academic. She's not, a technician like I am, a maintenance person like I am. I got my little bunch of keys right here. I'm a maintenance man. So, house, income. Number three, what are we going to do in this house? We're going to live in the town we live in and have a good time. It's going to be a nice town, which we can drive pretty close to a coffee shop, go to a restaurant, go to the mountains, go to the beach. Infrastructure. I do not like living in Texas. I'll be very straightforward with you. I do not like living in Texas. I do not like wide open spaces. It's boring. I want to be in the mountains. One of the biggest disappointments in my life, is when I moved here, I don't take as many photographs and shoot as many videos as I did in the past. You find certain things of interest to yourself. If I was into cowboys, I'd have plenty of fodder down here. If I was into disintegrating infrastructure, there's a lot of fodder for that here. It's okay. I've shot a lot of that already. If I wanted to shoot, rivers and lakes and stuff like that, it's okay. It's not beautiful. I've seen beautiful lakes in the Sierras. I've seen beautiful rivers in the Sierras, the Tuolumne, the Trinity. Those are absolutely beautiful in Northern California. The rivers down here, little muddy little creeks to me. So that's one of the big things I don't like about Texas. I don't find it interesting, so I want to move somewhere else. A lot of Texans are very happy living here. I have family, cousins that live in South Texas. They haven't gone outside of Texas since they were born, and they're in their 50s and 60s. They love Texas. Wouldn't leave it unless you put a shotgun to their back and said, you have to leave. They love it here. A lot of the people I meet here love it here. You complain about Texas, they get very, very upset. But I don't like it here. So we're moving, getting a small house, and have some savings. The third aspect can go different ways, okay? I want to get a small travel trailer and travel around the country, maybe 3 months out of the year, and go to, if we live in California, come to New Mexico, go to Montana, go to, Vermont, go to Florida, go travel around the country in our little travel trailer, 26, 27, 28 foot travel trailer. That's one way to do it. Maybe you want to travel 9 months out of the year. That will require the house not falling apart and requiring minimal maintenance. We get a fifth wheel. We get a Class A. And we get a 30-footer, 32-footer, whatever. And we become campground hosts. We see a lot of campground hosts out there. It's a lot of fun. And we can do that at a national park, a state park, private park, stuff like that. That would be a lot of fun too. My wife and I thought about that. We've discussed that. It would be a lot of fun. So we can either travel a little bit of the month, 3 months out of the year, or we can travel 9 months out of the year. We have this small house. I don't see us. I can hear thunder outside. We're not going to motivated by living full time in a Class A or fifth wheel. We're not motivated by that. So we're going to live this lifestyle. There's the final part. Let's say we spent this amount of money, but we still have this much money left in our annual budget for doing some other stuff. Let's say it's $2,000. Let's say it's $10,000. What can you do with $2,000 to $10,000? For $2,000, maybe we can take a jet and go visit family in Cancun, hang out at the beach for a couple weeks, visit them. That'll be a lot of fun. Or, we could stay with my family in the Baja and visit them for a while for $2,000. If we have $10,000 or $15,000, maybe we can travel to Japan, hang out in Kyoto for a week, and enjoy Japanese culture. We always wanted to go to Japan. Or maybe we go to Paris, or Amsterdam, Italy, Spain, Europe, or maybe go to Latin America. Maybe go to Buenos Aires or Rio or Santiago. There's a lot of options if you have a little bit of extra money. That's in our budget. We can say, yes, we're going to spend this money in the next year, and we're going to Buenos Aires. So we're going to stay at this hotel. We're going to stay there for 2 weeks. We're going to visit this museum, and we're going to have a great time. We're going to have this great, fun time in Buenos Aires. But if we don't have the money, you can't do that. You just visit family, or you just go camping. So those are the options we're thinking about and considering, and it's all about budget. Some of you have extended family. Your retirement involves just moving in with your daughter or son-in-law or cousin or your sister or your uncle or somebody that maybe an ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend or whatever. I don't know. There's a lot of options out there. Or maybe you just want to buy a tiny little house, a little shack in some isolated community somewhere. Turn on the TV, drink a beer, and call it good. Sit on the back porch, watch people pass by, go, oh, who's that? So there's a lot of options out there. It's all a matter of your income. You know that. I know that. So what do you think about my idea of retirement? Do you think it's pretty good? My pre-visualization of what retirement's all about? I don't know. 5 years down the line, it may be totally different. Maybe in a couple of years, I'll come up with another video saying, that was nuts. That was a goofy idea. I think this is how it's actually going to go. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to check the links in my description. I've started a Patreon page. You can donate $1, $2, $3, whatever you want. And if you're really nice and want to get, in my good graces, I do have higher amounts. You can donate $100, $500, $1,000. Wouldn't that be nice? That would add to my retirement account. Thank you very much. And I can produce more YouTube videos and things like that. I primarily shoot YouTube videos, reviews of RVs, stuff like that. There's 2 types of RVs I review. The ones I can afford, under $30,000, and ones I can't afford, like very nice fifth wheels and toy haulers and Class A's, which are sweet, very nice. I want one. I can't afford it though. Just like many of you, I can't afford it. Some of you can't afford it. Some of you have a lot of money. So those are the kind of videos I do, and also do some travel videos of me camping. So once I get my travel trailer, we're considering buying a small travel trailer next this summer, maybe. Maybe, the big word is maybe. And we should be having videos of how we're doing with our travel trailer, here we are at this campground. We're setting it up, and this is what we bought for it. This is what changes we made to it. Do you like how we're doing in our travel trailer? So a small travel trailer, anywhere between 23 to 28 feet, something good size, but not, we're not going to buy a puny travel trailer. We're going to buy a good sized travel. I want a little room, a little bit of room, not a lot of room, a little bit of room. So those are the kind of videos I produce. I also produce some esoteric videos on my neighborhood, on photography. Nobody likes my photography videos. Let me tell you, before I finish here in the next minute, my training, my background, I worked in radio, I worked in TV, and I owned a photo studio, and I also taught at a university. So I taught photography at a university, at several universities. I also worked at radio stations, several radio stations. I worked in television at, in Silicon Valley. And I also worked for a utility for a while, doing their marketing and advertising, all the while also doing radio. So I have this very diverse background. I enjoy that stuff. Sometimes I'll do a video on that. Maybe I'll do a video on some radio station, small podunk radio station doing polka music, and they speak in Czech, okay? I always want to do something like that. And maybe I'll do some photographs of a landscape, and I'll talk about how I produce my landscape. So stay tuned to my channel. It's esoteric stuff and some practical stuff. So I hope you like it. Again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to, I always forget this part, do that little bell. Apparently there's a bell, and you can, if you press that bell, it'll wake you up in the middle of the night and say, hey, you got to watch Jesús Garza's video. It'll wake you up. You'll be sleeping away. And it'll bing, got to wake up and watch Jesús Garza's video. And you go, no way, I'm going back to sleep. So I appreciate your time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And feel free to send me your comments, any questions. I'll try to answer them. You know, I'm an old guy. I have some experience. I have some knowledge. I'm not a genius. I'm not a multimillionaire. I'm doing okay, but I have some advice to give. And I'll talk about things that I know, and if I don't know them, I'll tell them, hey, I don't know. So again, thanks for watching my video. Gracias. Adios. Bye-bye.